I'm so happy and delighted as many of you are witnessing my presentations and seeking queries through LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So I genuinely thank IoT for this great opportunity to present my views, teaching methods, that is innovative teaching methods for today. The main aim of this session today is to bring out a lot of opportunities in teaching and learning, and also to ensure how to enable the students. Especially, it's a great challenge for us. So the first thing is, we are going to see how to explore and incorporate digital tools. And then what are the different kinds of the classrooms that can be incorporated or designed by creative educators, because I will discuss today as it is related to innovative teaching, and provide also emphasis on integration of digital devices and digital learning through simulation, where the real model world process happens. So moving on, there are a lot of questions which will come to our minds. So the first question would be, how have the institutions responded to calls for improvement, where we need to have a lot of criticisms which is already available. Say, for example, the PG and UG education, which is, they say that it is in a real state of decline, the quality I'm talking about, which is not so, which is not true at all. And the second myth, or probably which is widely spoken, is faculty are unwilling to improve the teaching, which is also very not so true, because everybody needs to have some kind of, or some space, the time to learn, which is very essential. So that is another aspect. And there is, of course, increased emphasis on student assessment, which will lead to improvements in teaching and learning. Yes, that is going to happen. So two things I would like to tell, two R's are very important aspects. One is the research-based education, or research-based education. And the second one is the relationship between the teacher and the student, what kind it has to be. So I will just take you through few kinds of innovative teaching methods today. And this, ma'am, third slide, ma'am. Response which calls for improvement is, numerous disciplinary and cross-disciplinary innovations in teaching and learning has emerged. We know that because, see, coming from the management, we are collaborating with the engineering graduates. So there we try to improve on a lot of research-based studies along with the engineering teachers. And like for example, I'm doing a project on, say, Bitcoins, how Bitcoins can be very helpful for the engineering, especially for, say, it could be in the form of logistics, where we are trying to use the Bitcoins, or any kind of the technology that can be adopted along with the management concepts. We are looking out for that. So whether it is, to reform, or whether to come out with the innovation kind of learning, we are trying to get along with that. So that is one portion. So a lot of questions again arise about the students learning during the college. What happens? How does the class performance improve? Okay, so that's a question. But after graduation, it will be, do the students really develop the technology and communication skills? So that's a great question mark. Ma'am, next slide, please. So is the post-test score well above the pre-test score? Post score is different and the pre-test score is completely different. And does the student enroll in subsequent or related classes? So that is also a question mark. And how do students perform in subsequent in the related classes? So these are some of the questions which comes when they are there in, when students are there inside the college. But after graduation, you can, ask, do graduates get their jobs? Because employment market, as you see, it's very tough and very, not very stable, I should say. So are the companies are happy with the graduate skills? Because they say, I don't know what things that y'all are teaching. Again, we are supposed to train, and we do training for the students in order to ensure that the JD matches. JD mana here, the job description matches with that particular role. So these are some of the, I should say, complaints or the takeaways, which the placement departments throws it back to the teachers. Okay, so it's a very great challenge. That is what I wanted to say. So students are looking out for choices. Today's students definitely are looking out for choices. Just take any small YouTube presentations. A lot of YouTube has come, on room and home makeovers, and hacking the room or hacking the home. How they can, improvise on the existing rooms. A small hacking I'm talking about. If this is happening, then imagine what could happen to the kind of the education where this is their future. So they definitely have the choice. And if they have the choice, how they will be doing it. So what happens is we need to adopt something called as evidence of student learning. Evidence-based learning happens among the students. So some of the examples of innovative ICT teaching. Ma'am, next slide, please. Examples of innovative teaching. Next slide, please. Examples of innovative ICT teaching is inquiry-based learning, real-world projects, information technology, showcasing, in the middle, if you could see how they will showcase their integration of the digital devices. All has to be incorporated. How it's going to happen? Because the future is a digital world and digital learning might or should happen, and hands-on learning is a must. So generally, if y'all are there, kindly take down 4 C's are very important. One is the communication. Second one is the collaboration. Third is the critical thinking. And the fourth C is the creativity. So all the 4 C's are very important, where I would like to quote a person called Plutarch. Once he said that mind is not a vessel that, needs filling. You have to keep acquiring the knowledge, not just simply filling it. Okay. So with that saying, I would like to say that the first, thought-provoking method would be webinars. When I'm talking about webinars, you might be thinking, we are conducting, madam, we are conducting a lot of seminars, webinars. Yes, but I'm talking for the students. How many are we conducting in a semester? How many are we conducting in a year? Because our mode here, I work for Autonomous Engineering College, as well as it's coming under, we follow certain methods, which is very innovative in the teaching aspects. If you see, we have student webinars. So in the student webinars, we have web conferencing, where a direct access website, via computer is being done, where they utilize the microphones for a two-way audio and a real-time synchronizing, and they get it recorded for the later use. So two things I would like to say here, which may be subject related. One is, this webinar actually made me to love my job, and also, love more of the management concepts, which really doesn't go to our head, immediately. That is one point. And I always, give the students new knowledge, something which they are not aware of. So that I would love to give. And say a lot of website activities can be given for the students, online, through online, and they would love to do, say for example, laboratory activities, depending on what kind of subjects you all are teaching. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me directly. Let it be more interactive, because say for example, a session on biology, you can take them to the lab and have the laboratory activities, give them an online assignment. Here actually I wanted to share my screen. I will like to share my screen. 1 minute, ma'am. I would like to share. Can you just give me permission to share my screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So I will just take you through the PPT, where yeah, I can show you the entire screen, though I may not be able to hear, ma'am. That's okay. But I wanted to show my entire screen here and take them for, because the syllabus is framed by me for one of the subjects. 5 subjects I have framed for this particular semester. And I wanted to show you at least one particular case study, which the subject name is called as Managing Digital Business. So in the Managing Digital Business, I'm sharing the PPT. So this was the first slide, second slide, third. And we have, something called as the problems of the slow learners. That is also there. I will come back to this, because there are students with low intelligent quotient Often I hear teachers asking me, ma'am, how do I take care of the students? One is the slow learners, another one is a troubleshooters. So that always, because learning environment at home needs to be appropriate, or should be very congenial, and learning environment in the hostel or wherever they stay, it should be very, it should be good. Okay, so if it's not good, or if they have any issues, then we always have mentoring sessions. But even then, there should not be any mismatch between the style of the lecturer and the learning style, so that we need to take care. So that is one. And generally, what are the deviations that we are all having today is deviations because of the Facebook, internet, cell phone, watching TV, gossips, movies, problems of course, of adolescence, boy girl friendship, relationship, negative influence of the peer group, enjoyment in the peer group, bad habits like smoking and others, family problems, which is a major problem in today's kids. Okay, and how they should manage the situation. So for the elders itself, they are not aware how to manage the situation, because we are there, because as a parent and as a mother, when I'm not able to manage my situation at home, I will definitely not be able to manage the situation in the classroom. So I will show that tantrums, or I will show that anger in the class. So how am I managing, which is very important. So influence of the social and political issues, these are the major deviations which has profound influence on the students when we are talking about intrinsic motivation towards learning, which is lacking among the students. Okay, because students are coming from the heterogeneous groups. And say, for example, there is a large class, and I have a class strength which is of 60 plus 120. Yeah. So say, for example, I'm taking, I'm telling you innovative teaching method. Please, madam, please have class discussion. And you say that, madam, 120 students are there. How can you have? It'll be a real mess. Okay, so different groups, different methods are required. So that I'll take you through the further slides. And different learning styles are also there, which we need to think through. Whether kinesthetic learning is appropriate for the students, or visual is appropriate, or say audio visual is appropriate. So that also needs to be understood, because in order to facilitate the learning outcomes, because ultimately the management will be looking out for the learning outcomes, right? So which is learning outcomes among the students as per the course objectives. The teacher has to equip himself or herself with the subject knowledge, because you need to master that. And the pedagogy tools, appropriate teaching methods, which is the session for the day to day, and right kind of the technology appropriate in teaching. So ultimately, the students have to achieve the expected learning outcomes. So if you see here, this is a very integrative approach. Because of the introduction of NEP 2020, there are the course objectives, learning outcomes are there, and what are kind of strategies which we will be adopting, and what are the different assessment methods for the students, both for formative and summative. I would like to quote here: learning is not like the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners, which is very essential. Okay, so the first teaching method could be active learning phase. I would like to define here what is active learning, because active learning, we say, yeah, students has to participate, but it is an instructional method that engages the students in the learning process. In short, an active learning requires students to do meaningful learning activities and think about what they are doing. Because the average retention rate of the student, when you see, I'm just showing you a pyramid, 90%, 75%, it comes up to, when the lecturing, a normal lecturing, only 5% it will be there. But when we teach with, immediate use of, the methods, then what happens? That is hands-on experience or something like that. Then it is 90%. So the second learning method could be experiential learning. And the third is a reflective learning. Fourth is 1-minute paper during the classroom interaction. So here I wanted to show you an YouTube, which is a must. I will share this link. I'm sharing exactly right now, which I wanted you to go through this, because here he says there are the teachers who must adopt something called as renounce teaching. And 1 minute, I will just open and show it to you how it is happening. Yes, the renounce teaching is one of the method of teaching which the professor says in
Excuse
his
me, ma'am.
yes ma'am.
Ma'am, the slides are not moving, ma'am.
Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Slides are not moving in the Chrome tab. Okay, I will just go to this window and share this. Now is it coming, ma'am? Is it moving?
No, ma'am, we are not able to see the slides, ma'am.
Okay, one. I don't know. I'm just sharing whatever possible. Something wrong with the. Okay, stop presenting. I'm doing it once again with this. I'm sharing the entire screen now. So in the entire screen, whether the PPT is visible,
The PPT is visible, ma'am.
I wanted to show them a video. Now it is moving, ma'am. Can you just confirm, please? Okay. You can just message me if it is moving or not moving. Can you just message me, ma'am, please, whether it is moving, not moving? I can go ahead. Yeah. Because I'm not able to hear when I'm sharing the full screen. You can share the screen from your end. Yeah. Yeah. One is the active learning. In the active learning, if you see, the first thing is, exchange of questionnaires. Active exchange of so exchange of questionnaires asks a group of the students to formulate the questions about the subject matter. So this kind of questionnaires, when we are designing and asking them to roll it out to the other members, especially this is one of the research based method of understanding, and the learning outcome in this particular exchange of questionnaires is very, very high, because the other groups responded to the questions. You can split them into two groups and give them based on a particular problem or problem statement, where they go distribute the questionnaires to the outside world, and then based on the problem, say for example in logistics we have something called as a milk run in logistics. So the milk run is nothing but during certain times the it goes like this, like a lifeline. The response is being got from the customers, which will help us to learn, help us like the students to learn and to respond and solve the particular problem. And when they come back to the class, you can ask the questions. So which group has done best, you can have some kind of appreciation for that, which will be a very best method of teaching. So exchange of questionnaires. Generally, we ask the questions, but here it is exchange of the questionnaires. So the next one is the breakdown process. Divide the lecture into manageable chunks with brief, intermissions. So during the breaks, ask the students, to write down any questions that they might have, and then they have a peer discussion. Okay, so this is also another method. The next one would be, I'm sharing now again, because I will like to, go through the PPT. Ma'am, I will try to share. Is it
Yes,
possible?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I will try to share the, presentations with the, the third and the fourth method, because there is something called as convergent and divergent, thinking that is also there. blended, teaching methods. A lot of methods are there, but ma'am, allow me to share, ma'am, so that I can share the PPT.
You will be able to share now, ma'am.
Okay. So I will share it. Just check whether the slides are moving, ma'am. Kindly let me know whether the slides are moving.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So now what happens? I would like to tell that we have to adopt a method of something called as art and
Ma'am,
entertainment.
it is not visible, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. I'm just doing it along with the
Yeah, yeah.
presentation. Yeah. So we need to adopt a method called art and entertainment. So when we are doing it with art and entertainment, what happens is we have to do it in such a way that the class is more interesting. Okay, compared to the method, what I'm trying to say here is, yeah, sharing. Yeah. So like for example, presenting a movie, demonstrating the students knowledge related to the module. So this is also possible for us. Okay, so very interesting method, this one, where you will get a lot of feedback from the students, and that will be very interesting for the students to give a hands-on experience, because they will come out with different methods of uh, say, this is another method of teaching, self-directed learning. But in true, when you see the movie, what I'm talking about, where they will only prepare the movie and then they will come to the class. So that is very interesting. And then we also have something called as a book review method. In the book review method, they read a particular book. This is also already there, madam. What is new that you're telling? The new is we can make them present in the class, which is more important. Which we don't, do that. We don't encourage. Sometimes we forget. And when the students are presenting in the group or as a group, then there it makes a lot of difference for us. Okay. So that is the one thing which I would like to tell. And here, if you see, because there are many learners, some are fast, some are slow. And one another method is called as 3D modeling. So here we use the technology bound called as FreeCAD. This is the most important free and open source alternative in place of the commercial softwares. For example, you can refer to the universities of Alaska or any other foreign university for that matter, or our own IITs, where we use this method, FreeCAD. You can just Google it. So FreeCAD is one which you can use parallelly. Octave is another Linux community solution for MATLAB. How many of you would have heard for MATLAB? No idea. But MATLAB is one of the best method where we can synchronize and try to present it in a very wonderful, way. And that's one. And the second one is supposed to be called as FreeMat. FreeMat, FREEMAT, provides environment which is similar to the MATLAB, where we do a lot of data processing. And the ninth method could be the Blender method. Here, an industrial design tool. This Blender is basically an industrial tool that is better suited for quick ideation and rendering. And Blender is free design software for any purpose. Blender is an open source project that aids industrial designers in visualization. Okay, and what are the key features? If you see, it includes a new unbiased rendering engine and cycles that offer ultra realistic rendering. Okay, so that is one. And one method I would like to add upon here is something called as active learning. So in active learning, there is something called as a case study method. Madam, what big deal about case study? We are doing all these case studies, we are following it. But I would like to show the example here. See, as you can see, the case led to business to business. This is my subject, which I'm teaching right now. Managing digital business is my subject. So here the case, I would not call it as a case study. It's a caselet, very small caselets. Say, for example, Voltas is making commercial refrigerators, which are used by hotels, correct? Commercial kitchens are using, or commercial restaurants are using. So these are customized according to the customer requirements. Okay, the refrigerator I'm talking about. And the prices starts from 5 lakhs onwards. Okay, now the marketing manager has to decide whether the Voltas should direct distribution, go for direct distribution or indirect distribution. State your reasons why it should go for indirect or why it should go for direct. So please recommend the method Voltas should use, giving the reasons for the same. So this is one, method which you can use. Okay, a small caselet. So because we are using a lot of, case studies, then it might not probably, render a probable, I should say, a method to achieve that particular results. Okay. The another one is the gamification. We say it is a need of the hour. Okay. We say, but what happens? Analyze the statement in the light of the digital marketing. So digital marketing is the future. Now analyze this gamification, which is the need of the hour. So just let me know how it can be done. So these kind of questions, a thought-provoking questions, as I told you, the video which I wanted to show you, in that, please, I will share the link definitely in the chat box. Kindly go through that session. A very beautiful Indian professor has given 5 different points, because he says, as we already know, that reading is a very good habit where we are not making the students read in the class. When you're taking a chapter, a small paragraph, a small 2 lines, or say, make the students read in the class, because reading habit, just 2 days back also in Times of India, they were talking, it was a discussion where they had posted an ad. Reading makes a person more attractive compared to, we taking a pet for a walk. So whether it's a Siju or, something, we are taking, our pet for a walk, people will be attracted to see us, obviously, who is this person, what kind of pet they are, taking for the walk. But when we sit and read, that becomes more attractive compared to 5 times, I should say. Okay, so please let us develop the habit of reading in the class. Obviously, 50 to 45 minutes you'll have the class. So just for 3 to 4 minutes, ask any one of the student to stand up and read a few lines, whether it is a case study or whether it is a concept, or maybe if you're showing the PPT, ask the student to read, which will imbibe the motivation to get involved in the class. So that is one of the, thing which has been shared in that particular video. So this caselet, is one which I would like to, show. And the next one is learning through discussion. This is very important, method. Here we have something called as a think, pair, TPS activity. Think, pair, and share, TPS activity. So here, for example, an unknown problem on a topic is given to the course, which is given by the teacher. Okay. So here in the thinking phase, what happens? You are suggesting something, giving them a 3 minutes duration. So the teacher, what she or he will do, the teacher will pose the above problem and ask every student to think and analyze the problem. Whereas the student's activity is every student will think and analyze the problem. The next phase is the pairing phase. So in the pairing phase, what will happen? The teacher will ask the students to pair up and have exchange of their ideas, and finally write their analysis of the problem and also the plausible solution to that. Okay. So there, the students' activity will be, the students will discuss in pairs, and each pair will write the analysis of the problem and the possible solution to that. This is the next one. And the third phase is, which is called as the share phase, TPS. So in the share phase, what happens? The teacher's activity will be, the teacher will ask each pair to present the solutions. He or she will write different answers in brief on board and will encourage further questions from the students, which will facilitate the discussion and leads the students towards the deep learning. So here what happens, the students' activity will be what? The students will share their ideas, asking challenging questions and coming out with original ideas, and lead the entire class towards the deep learning. So at the end of this strategy, what will happen? The teacher and students will experience that new knowledge is constructed in the classroom by the students. So this is, a very best method, I should say, TPS. I'm just showing you the slide again so that it is easy to, just have a catch on that. Think, pair, and share activity. This is one of the first method which I would like to share, which is an innovative, method. The second innovative method is, as I told you, as I discussed earlier, slow learners. So here what we can adopt is a variety of assignments. So in my subject, what happens? I give the assignment, not for the entire, I mean, for the entire class, of course, but with the, little bit. VTU adopts the different method. For example, their roll number ending in 0, 3, 5, 7, and 9. We give one assignment. And roll numbers ending in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, ending in or 0. I mean, there's a different, way of, so you have 3 to 4 different groups where you're giving different assignments to the students so that they don't do the cut, copy, paste work, or, you would have seen the students sending the assignments in the WhatsApp where the other student sits and writes and submits the same. So all the possible things, can be eliminated, all these, cut, copy, paste work. So what happens? Category A, what do I do? For everybody in the class, the knowledge level only, I can give a particular assignment. Category B, I will give understanding level. And category C, I will give apply level. I hope we are aware of this Bloom's taxonomy. So based on whether it is level 3, level 4, level 5, or level 6, according to that, I will give the assignments. So this will make the slow learners to catch up or cope up with the normal learners, and the normal learners to the fast learners. So the students are going through with the category A, B, and C should be able to definitely pass. And if, the last category, C category, also can cope up with the other learners. The possibility is very, very high. And this will, be able to fill the gaps with the prerequisite knowledge by conducting a pre-test. Before the test, you just conduct in the class a pre-test before the beginning of the teaching of the course. My dear friends, honestly speaking, all this is possible if you have an appropriate, or if we have an appropriate plan before starting the session. Okay, so there is a gap, especially in VTU. We don't have this semester goes next semester goes another semester. So for us, it's just continuous. And the number of holidays, if you think, it is just hardly 7 days in a semester. You get your vacation leave, or either you're granted, you're not granted. So we have a lot of challenge, in the preparation point. See, as of now, what I'm doing, my presentation is just 1 hour. But if you see the preparation, it is for 4 hours I have prepared. Even now, end of the moment also, I have added 2 more slides, which I thought, because I wanted to share even the AI, artificial intelligence tools with you. So the preparation will take such a long time for the class. So what the best is, before the semester starts, have a couple of days where you have a box file full of all the teaching pedagogies, your innovative methods, so that the semester goes very peacefully, and you have sufficient time, and you enjoy your teaching, which is more important for us at this post graduation level. So I would say that my tutorials are best enjoyed compared to my classes, because in tutorials what happens, I give them a hands-on experience. So active learning happens especially for all the subjects, including the social science subjects, and subjects with management, and even for engineering graduates also, we go and take a subject called as entrepreneurship development. So there also, for example, making them do the business plan, I just give them a live project. So that's how it goes. And all this we have seen in the earlier just few minutes before, we have seen how can you use webinars, I have told. And active learning, I have shown this. The method of muddiest points, man, like the dirtiest ones. So request all the students list the most, something where they are most confused, or that material which they were taught. Ask them to revise it. Ask them why it was given like that, and how, where they are finding it very difficult. So they might consider how well they understood the lesson by doing this exercise. So this is one of the innovative method, I should say, muddiest, because we give a clarity to a point or a concept when we are explaining in the class. But you give, the confused point, then they will start asking questions. Ma'am, not very clear. Ma'am, could you just explain it again? So ask them back. See, asking the students, the questions. So how do you think it will, happen? What is your opinion on this? So how do you think it can be solved? These are some of the very best questions you can ask in the class to the students, so that they come out with the problem and they also come out with the solution. Your job is made easy. So generally we don't ask questions. So how do you solve this? We should as teachers, we should learn to ask questions to the students. What is your best method, like that? And the next one is using the devil's advocate method. Split the class in half and give each group continuous issue and debate on both favor and against. This aids creating a broader perspective on a particular subject. Obviously, a lot of I should say constructive conflict will be there, but still you can manage the class. Peer instruction exercises. This is as the teacher would assign the pupils to mentor their peers. This improves group dynamics and the student engagement. Here, I would like to tell you, my friends, one major important thing. Peer learning is not only for the students, peer learning should also be for us. Be for us, definitely, because we should have the mind open to listen to our seniors. How many of us listen to our seniors? I don't know. Today, the teaching methodologies have changed. Technology has taken place, a lot of things. And how many of us do have that kind of patience to listen to our seniors, because their experience add more value? So that is one. And also respecting our peers, our own level, and asking them suggestions. So see, I might be a teacher who's teaching managing digital business, but I still would love to hear from a lady who is teaching entrepreneurship development. What would be the method that she adopts in the class? Why her feedback is very high and my feedback is very low? Or anything else where I can focus, so that that transparency should be there, of course, but that open-mindedness should be there in order to imbibe our or improve our better teaching methods. Okay, the next one is personalized learning. Overall learning can be improvised. Teaching the say we have a lot of this Coursera, edge tech companies are there, academies, asking them to enroll for that, where they can enroll, and as well as they can parallelly study the same concepts which we are also teaching, which will add more value. And they can come out with, for example, I ask my students, most of them, to enroll for NPTEL courses. Okay, NPTEL courses gives them a lot of inputs and gives them alternative choices. Recently, I also attended a course, one from the soft skills for the or personality development for the teachers. Very horrible, I should say, horrible in the sense the choices, the answers were many. Okay, so you multiple choices were the answers. You can choose 3, 4 answers were there, and out of that, which one to choose, because all the answers almost were looking similar also. So it was a very nice experience, I should say. I'm telling it positively. The same can be adopted, so I have started doing that. In the class, I give them a small quiz where multiple choices which are answers to that particular question is given to them. So that, their attention capacity, which I have seen, I have experienced in this 23 years, which is very, very high, these days. Because today, most of them are, fast learners, the students. So it's easy to bring in that. So that is one. Then we have this convergent and divergent thinking. Okay, these are the two valuable methods, because this fosters the growth of various analytical abilities, convergent as well as divergent thinking. Giving presentation to the students for practice, it is necessary to master the ability of writing convergent and divergent questions. And then is a project-based learning. I'm so grateful for IoT Academy. I should definitely say this, because we have this, I got somebody through LinkedIn telling, how do you adopt that particular method? So this I have already discussed in the earlier session also, project-based learning. This is one of the research-based method, actually it is, where students can gain the practical experience. A project, it's actually a hands-on approach. Projects provides a practical experience. Give them small. You can talk to me, you can be more interactive, you can ask me questions. How do you, implement this? See, in my subject is HR and HR analytics, HR metrics. So what do? Is I give them a role-based, activity, and then ask them to present it in the class. So how they present, based on that, you guide them in order to come out with the particular solution if it is a problem based, or come out with alternative solutions if it is a case based approach. And then peer teaching, we learn from our peers which have already completed. Another one very important innovative teaching method, which most of us don't follow due to our time management or lack of awareness, I should say, or maybe um, we have to complete the portions. So that is also there. Okay. So one innovative method is mistake-led teaching. Provide them a passage or a content which is fully filled with errors. They should find out the mistakes, group the students and ask them to point out the errors and give them the credit for each accurate error that is pointed out. Okay, because this will imbibe what happens. The reasoning skills will be developed. Critical thinking skills will be developed, absolutely. It will also imbibe the analytical skills. Group building will happen because each one coming out with, one mistake. And, they will remember this very well. That day, she made a mistake. She gave us this passage. There was, a couple of mistakes on this. So that is also, probability is there, which will increase your memory power. So because of this mistake-led teaching method, the reasoning skills will be, critical thinking will be developed, analytical skill, group building, and memory will be improvised. And then we have the last one, cooperative learning. In the cooperative learning, the social abilities would increase. Assurance will be there from the group members. Everybody will be involved in solving the issues. This cooperative learning is, you should put one slow learner and one fast learner, as a group when you're forming the group. Then only their mental abilities, analytical reasoning, and interpersonal abilities will improve. I actually wanted to discuss with you, my dear faculty members, one more important method, which is called as a mind map. I've just given you an example here for the mind map with these scalar quantities. This is a very innovative way, which most of us forget to use because we are rushing through our portions. Portions also needs to be completed. In between, we will be getting the formative assessment. Then comes a summative assessment, CIE1, CIE2. I'm talking about continuous internal evaluation methods, where they have to appear for the exams. And then again, you will be going for evaluation for exams. Again comes the next semester, correct? But in between we forget. So that's why I'm asking you to, develop a box file with at least 2 mind maps exercises. 2 mind maps, 2 case studies, 2 reverse role plays, 2 2 creative learning, where we can, the mistake-led teaching, 2 cooperative learning. Like this, you just make the box file and keep so that it is easy before the semester starts, easy to give it to the students, and it goes on very peacefully. So this mind map basically was developed by Tony Buzan in 1960. It's a lot a thing where you start with the problem and making the notes with the keywords. Okay, you can also draw the images, not an issue. So here, if you can see the scalar quantities, how the scalar quantities. This is, I've just given an example of the physics. Scalar quantities, if you can see, it goes with the speed, it goes with the time, it goes with volume, it goes with mass, it goes with energy, frequency. All these are the relative answers. And the relative answer, say for example, the speed, how it can be achieved. Again, you can ask the question. Again, if it is an answer is coming, again, how that would come. So it's a mind map is basically, it's a visual diagram, which is basically used to record and organize information in a way which the brain finds captivating and easy to process. So mind maps are based on constructivism, multiple intelligence, and it also adopts a Gestalt approach. Mind mapping is basically an application that gives a meaningful information to understand in a very simple way. And if you see the objectives, to acquaint the students about the latest techniques and technologies such as mind mapping and ICT, that is tools I'm talking about, in the learning process, it will really help you, so much. And also to enable the students to use this technique of mind mapping in learning and use the mind maps as a teaching and learning and assessment tool. It will be very, very helpful for you. I can tell you here, you can see the graph. What is the level? One is the mind mapping and the other one is the other different methods. And if you see the mind mapping, the acceptance of the students is very high. And there is a software for this. The software name is FOSS. You can just Google it. It's a free mind mapping software which is installed on most of the laptops, even desktop, and Apple's from Google Play also. It is there, Google Play Store. You can install in your tablets or laptop, and then you can use it. Whereas in this, the project students are divided into two groups. One is the experimental group and the control group. We also checked which is the one which is more active and gives us a very great learning outcome. An experimental group gives us, because we have used this particular experiment on the mind mapping on the experimental group, the students, the subjects where they were being able to relate to it, they were more active and they were giving a better results compared to the control group. Okay, so mind mapping enhances learning and retention of the skills. So I'll not go deeper into this because it's most, if you see, it is both international, the ICT oriented collaborations at national and international level. If you see, I would like to quote only one, the fourth point. Say, for example, the collaboration with the National Geographic community, online collaborating with the scientists and educators, it facilitates that. So there is a National Geographic community in order to provide first-hand experience of the latest tools and techniques in teaching and learning process. So it gives a very great collaboration with the outside bodies. Okay. So when you're talking about this innovative ICT tools, you have again Moodle teaching. Moodle is a free and open source. Yes, we have already heard, madam, n number of times. Yes, but how many of us are using the flipped classroom teaching? In my earlier session also, I had emphasized, except for a couple of teachers, who are my colleagues, the remaining 13 of them don't use. That's the honest answer I should also share from my end. Only 2 of them uses, remaining 13 of them don't use. We are 15 of us in the department. So the flipped classroom, is one of the good method. Say, start using, MOOCs and Google Classroom teaching. Google Classroom is where the learning management, madam, yes, I post all my assignments, my classroom teachings. Yes, it's a very great learning, in the Google Classroom, and most of us are not using the features. That's the one which is probably, we are crippled in that, because we don't have time to go through what are the different features. Just generally posting the contents in the classroom will not be sufficient. Along with the content, there is something called as a Google Suite. In that Google Suite, you can happily, attach your canvas, attach whatever, preparations that you are making in the other softwares or other platforms. You can bring it to Google and make it more interactive for the students. Then we have this Web2 technology teaching. This is a little old also, I should say, where we create different blogs and Google sites in the teaching and learning process. And there is something called as a learner designer in teaching. Learner designer is a tool that helps teachers and lecturers designing and teaching learning activities to share their learning designs with each other. Okay, here what happens? Read, write, listen. Okay, or acquisition or inquiry, practice, production, discussion, collaboration, everything takes place. The next one is a Skype mediated teaching. We don't adopt that. How many of the Indian teachers adopt the Skype mediating teaching? Let us, I'm not putting it negatively. I'm just trying to say how many of us adopt this method. And there's a social media based teaching. The next one is teaching with a sense of humor. How many of us adopt this? We are in a rushing methods to, go through the portions. Because laughter is a natural and universal phenomenon with beneficial effects, both physical and psychological. Everyone loves a teacher with infectious sense of humor. We need to have a cordial relationship with the students. So show them, some kind of cartoons, which is, very interesting. Students laugh, giggle, and then, the learning happens. And I also would like to say some innovative teaching method. One of the method is Z to A. You would have heard about A to Z. Z to A approach. This approach attempts to explain the application part of a particular concept first. Okay. So you talk about the application. This is useful. Say, for example, mobile is useful for so-and-so. So now the strength will be this particular approach will make a particular concept clear. The students will develop the interest to know. So you just give the application alone. This is used. So come out with the concepts. Students have to come out with the concepts. And this creates a long-lasting memory. because they will be able to correlate the concept with the application, correct? But it also has weaknesses. It will take a long time for the teacher to introduce a concept. Initial difficulty in understanding a particular concept will be encountered. It's a new concept. Say, for example, green marketing. Green marketing, where it is applied, how it is applied, and what are the different phases. So you give the application part, okay, and then you ask them to come out with the solution, how it is being done. So that's, they have to connect all the dots and then come out with the solution. The next one is the concept simulation. So this is Galileo's experiment of two different objects falling at the same rate. This is a concept simulation. Just give them an object, taking to the class, because that needs a prep. You need to prep them, like how, before making a cake, you prep your daughter or son to make them understand. You prepare them, and then give all the ingredients and get to know. So in the similar way, here you prep the candidates, the students, or you can even show them the pictures. Here I'm showing this, tower which is about to fall. So the experiment proves the experimental hypothesis to be correct. Two different sizes objects fall at the same rate. This is because of the rate of acceleration of an object in a field of force, that is gravity, which is independent of the object's mass. So if we ignore with wind resistance, what will happen? So you can just experiment on your own. I'm just giving you an example. I've been giving you an example in biology, in physics, maths, and I gave you in management. So another method could be mnemonics, words, words, words approach. The concept approach, what is the associative meaning? Increase your word power. This will also increase your memory and also your vocabulary, your dictionary. This is another method. This is for English. It will be, nice. And then role-playing scenario analysis-based teaching, which I have already discussed in my earlier teachings also. You have a normal role play and a reverse role play. And finally, to conclude, there are 4 different methods of teaching. My dear friends, we have research-based education, which includes inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, research-led and research-tutored activities, experienced the research cycle, team-based learning, then flipped classroom, peer assessment, and reading and discussing the draft articles to the students, and students' involvement in the ongoing project. This is all completely research-based, providing the case study. And in the beginning of the session, I told you I just would love to, conduct students' seminars. So project seminars, where they come and present and convert that presentation into a research paper where you guys can publish in Scopus. Please do not go with giving money. Give, the students, the seminars. So in VTU, what happens after the second semester, we have something, internship as well as a seminar. So corporate seminar, it is called as, we call it in our college, corporate seminars. So give them a particular, topic, or allow them to choose a particular topic. Let them come and give, with the latest technology, let them come and give the seminar, that is a presentation. You have the viva, you have the internal marks, and after that, ask them to convert it into a Scopus paper. So if the students are ready to share the money, that's fine. If they are not ready to share, then also it is fine. You put your name and then go for publication, because it's your, it's a win-win situation. Both you and the candidate student would have prepared something. And conduct workshops. I'm talking about not the regular workshops. It is a student workshops. Allow them, give them, ask them to give them the topic. Let them conduct during your class. Let them conduct the workshops, and something called as a journal clubs, which I've already discussed, or experimental work. Journal club is nothing but you can have it for marketing journals, HR journals. You can have for data analytics journals, different journal clubs where they read the research articles, in the journals, and from the journals, then after that they can present their reviews. Okay, and you can also have production and research lab, procedures and protocols, which has to be followed accordingly, and take it for the classroom discussion, whether it is small or big, and ask what if happens, the questions which I've already told. You can ask the questions to the students. And then comes the active learning. Here I've given a lot of examples. Fishbowl is one, jigsaw is another one. Think, pair and share, which we have already discussed. Make the classroom think, pair and share. 1 minute paperwork, putting some topic in a bowl and asking them to pick it up and discuss in the classroom. So debate and panel discussion will all come under the active learning. And then comes the critical thinking, where you have the problem solving approach and introducing the elements of academic debate. Give them a topic where they would debate, and constructive conflict needs to be there in order to learn, or learning must take place. And there is a model called as a spider web model, which goes on how the spider builds its web. Similar way the learning happens for the students. And the last one is a self-directed learning. Here you in this particular innovative method, ensure that you foster the intrinsic motivation of the students by providing a space for autonomy, which we most of the time don't do it. We must do it. Intrinsic motivation to the students by providing some space. Okay, you just learn, you finish it, and then come and discuss it with me in the classroom. So how are we going to do it? So that is one way, making the learning objectives very transparent to the students. So you can show them the, what do I say? You can show them the outcomes, learning outcomes. I want this to happen. So how will you do it? And, to summarize all, there is the one which we often miss out is intercultural and inclusive education is one which we need to, include. There are 5 inclusive teaching principles. One is establishing and supporting a class climate that fosters belongingness of all the students. No discrimination, my dear faculty members, either in terms of knowledge, in terms of the disparity between or among the students should not happen. And we need to set an explicit student expectations. So what do you expect from the session? So how are the sessions is going to be? In our college, if you see, once in a while at random, somebody else from the management who is highly educated and who adopts different pedagogical tools will come and sit in our class for that particular purpose and try to understand how the session is happening. So I don't know how many of the colleges, do adopt this method, which gives us, more, we should not take it like somebody is coming and inspecting us. If we are taking it in that way, then it will not happen. So at random, if they are coming, I am, growing. I am learning more and I want to make the class more interesting. And above all, one thing, very interesting thing is, getting a good feedback. I want to stand alone. I want to stand different. I have to be, very different compared to others. So I always keep thinking that, somewhere I need to be very unique. So how do I do that? So for all these things, I try to adopt, these kind of methods. So one is to summarize all the methods, whatever we have seen is, one is this adaptive learning. Here, I wanted to tell that we have this chat GPT. Yes, we are all using that. Started using it. I don't know how many of you are using, but simply cut, copying, paste again, which will not give a fruitful outcome, because it will not replace the human. Let me tell you very clearly. You can take that for your assistance. Okay, so for adaptive learning, for example, to take place, using the students to teach the basic and advanced skill by assessing. Now, these are some of the advantages of AI, which I have put here in this particular slide. So adaptive learning, AI will help us to improve the adaptive learning. It helps us in assisting all the technologies, especially visually impaired student. Yes, it gives, how to read the passages. Then early childhood education, AI is helping that. AI is also helping, how to analyze the data and improvises the learning analytics. And it also helps the administrators to analyze and interpret the data. It helps us in scheduling our work. Okay. So we have to use for all these things. So tomorrow I have a lecture. Please remind me. You tell AI to remind you for, the class, or it could be on a daily basis, weekly basis. And it also, encourages the facilities management. AI is very effective in monitoring the status of the power, Wi-Fi, any of the other services. It will give you an alert, signal So see, I did not implement that. Now there was a little problem in the beginning of the session, correct? So it helps, AI helps in the facilities management. Let me incorporate that in the next session. And overall school management also it improvises. It improvises in the writing skills especially. Can you see here? I have given AI improves the classroom and the behavior management. So you have tried to adopt a lot of methods in the classroom and behavior management. When the students are screaming so much, you're getting the signal where, okay, I need to rush to the class to ensure that students needs to, keep quiet, correct? So lesson planning, it imbibes the lesson planning, and how we can improve the lesson planning one after the other, after every 4 sessions. I'll just show you mine. I also want to discuss that. I just have exactly 5 minutes more to complete it. So I want to show, because it helps in all these things. AI helps in, if you see plagiarism detection, it helps exam integrity, it helps chatbots to, enrollment and retention, till that to academic research, to, connecting all the campuses. And, I have given here artificial intelligence infused specific technologies. Thingster Math is one method. These are some of the softwares which I wanted to share with you. It's for math tutoring program, leverages human interaction and groundbreaking artificial intelligence to create personalized learning programs. That is one software which is called as a Thingster Math. Jill Watson is there, which is there for AI virtual teaching assistant. It is like how you have Siri or assistant, and for Google also you have the assistant. So Brainly, another one, which is a social media site for classroom questions, only for asking questions. Okay, you can use that. Nuance is another one. Cogni. I will share this PPT with the IoT Academy. Kindly, you can ask them for the PPT, and kindly go through this during your free time. And let's develop a unique teaching methodology for us to be very unique and stand differently in front of others. So to conclude, a teacher who facilitates active learning among students becomes active learner himself. Yes. And he experiences grains of discoveries in many projects. Yes. And he mentors generations of students who can become innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders, and administrators and teachers. So my dear friends, my tributes are for all the great teachers.